Welcome to the Accounting Success Podcast. Ian Wellham is a chartered accountant, helping other CPA firms maximize their profit potential and become the most relevant advisor to clients. To learn how you can add value, introduce new revenue streams, and move into high-value advisory services, simply go to www.haydenrock.com. On the podcast, Ian brings together successful accountants and industry thought leaders to share with you how they serve business owners and how you can too. And now, here is your host, Ian Wellham.
Hello and welcome to the CPA Success Podcast. With me on the call today is Tom Alongi, partner at UHY LLP, a firm with offices in 7 states and a member of the UHY Global Network. That means they're around the world. UHY specializes in over a dozen different industries, including construction and energy, healthcare and government. Tom is the leader of the firm's national manufacturing practice and operates out of Sterling Heights, Michigan. Is that correct, Tom?
Yes, it is.
Great. Well, Tom, first of all, thank you for joining me today. I know you've got a busy day ahead of you, so I appreciate you spending some time with us and our listeners. Thank you.
No problem.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty, Tom, could you give the listeners a little 2-minute background about yourself, the firm, how long it's been around, what the firm's known for, etc.?
Sure. A little background myself. I actually have been with the firm a little more than 20 years. Right out of college. It was my first job. I can give you a little more background on that a little bit later, but just been, our firm is, again, I'm an audit partner, but our firm is a very entrepreneurial firm, so I'm able to really get involved with, our audit clients, helping them, grow, and so we certainly try to advise them as much as possible on acquisitions and growth strategies and all types of succession planning. So it's a little bit more hands-on than just being an auditor, because many of our clients are middle market, companies that may range from $10 million in revenue all the way up to $1 billion. But our sweet spot is anywhere from 25 to about 500 million. So UHY is, like you said, is an international network. It's been around, I believe, since the 80s. We have about 270 international offices. What's a little bit different is we're not an association. We're actually member firms. So a vast majority of these international offices have UHY in their name, or they're branded UHY. They go through the same kind of quality inspection and controls that we do here in the U.S. So, and most importantly, we try to have at least one English-speaking partner at each of these firms as much as possible to kind of help with translation. So that's a little background. Anything further you would like me to add there?
It's quite, in my experience, it's quite unusual for an audit partner to be involved in consulting or advisory services. So how do you make that happen, Tom?
So, the vast majority of our clients they're not public, right? So we're certainly allowed. The way our practice group is set up, we have UHY LLP, which is our test and audit practice group, and we have our UHY advisors, which is our consulting arm. So we are able to advise their clients. Obviously, we're where we can and follow all the rules and regulations that are out there surrounding it. But with our middle market clients, they're looking for more so that advisory experience and advice is even more important to them than the strict, I just need an audit, and that's it. So that's what is different about, the middle market, I think, than pure Big Four public. We're able to get our hands around our clients a little bit more and really, help them, with their family, and where they want to grow, or potentially, at some point sell, or some, other types of succession planning.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. You can get involved with the business so closely. So,
Yes.
as head of the firm's manufacturing practice, who's your typical client, and what are they engaging you for?
The typical client, again, is, here in Michigan, obviously, a big part of our practice group here for our manufacturing team is automotive, as we expected. But we have a lot of industrial, there's a lot of tool and die, a lot of aerospace, a lot of defense. And, that trickles down into our St. Louis and also our New York offices. And so that's kind of the typical client. And again, that range is anywhere from, can be, we work with a lot of startups today even, but, all the way up to, 500 million. I have a couple that are bigger than that. So, but that's kind of the sweet spot. It's a lot of, again, it's plastics, it's metals, engineering, prototyping, you kind of name it. Anyone that makes something, we love to, get our hands on. So a little bit different. We have more of a shop floor approach. We really, our team is, as much as say you're a bean counter and you're used to be in the front side of the office, but we like to roll up our sleeves and walk out back and see what's going on, because we do have an operational improvement group. So over the years, it's really clients are looking at, how can you change the numbers, right? How do you help me get better? So instead of just being an accountant and accounting for everything, you have to really understand the operations to help them be able to change the numbers. And that's really what our team is focused on. And I'm trying to be that quarterback to say, okay, they need an audit, they need tax, or they need consulting. We try to be that full service, one-stop shop for them to really, help them grow. I mean, we're only as successful as our clients are.
Right. And to achieve those, to give that kind of help, do you have a defined service framework with processes that you can rely on, so that you can help the client with whatever it is they need, but do it efficiently and in a professional way?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. Is kind of look at us being a middle market firm where we have all the resources of a big four firm serving the middle market, right? So again, operational improvement, we have a team out of Atlanta, right? Whether it's tax incentives, we got a team out of St. Louis, here in Michigan. So whether it's that, tax, there's a dedicated tax team, and obviously our dedicated audit team. So we're able to really utilize professionals. I mean, I can't be everything, right? I can't know it all. But I'm the one that needs to know enough to be dangerous, to be able to identify issues and bring in the right team. So
yes, yeah. You used an expression that I really liked. How can you change the numbers? As a question from your client. How can you change the numbers? What are they meaning by that, Tom?
Well, again, I think I heard that statement probably about 10 years ago, and it resonated with me. When we were on a pitch with a client, he says, "You know what? I met with 3 other CPA firms. I think you all can do. Everybody can do my audit, my tax. Okay, great, right? But what's the value add? How are you going to change my numbers?" And I'm like, that is really cool. That's a really interesting point. And I go, well, how we're going to change your numbers is in a few ways, right? One is, let us get out on your shop floor and see what you're doing, right? And in that particular case, we were able to bring in our operational improvement team, and through our system, what's called OPMS, Operational Performance Management System, we were able to implement a daily accountability system. We increased their efficiency on the shop floor. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was over 25% on labor. We reduced our scrap, and we really helped change the numbers on the shop floor. And then on the front side, we said, how can we save you taxes, right? And so we introduced them to something that's called an IC disc. because they were exporting a lot of product abroad and didn't have that implemented. Wasn't doing R&D credit, and so there was other things that we were not only changing numbers on the back side of the plant, but also on the front side, and that was really what got us really focused on. I always say when we go in, we want to be able to pay for ourselves, and if we're not, either the client's not engaged with us or we're not doing our job, and that's really been I guess the foundation of the growth of my practice and our team here, our manufacturing team, just very focused on hands-on partner attention and helping clients, move the numbers, change them, not just account for them, but say, wow, yeah, my labor improved from last year, or I'm using, I'm more efficient, and whatever it is, whatever they do. It's different for all companies, but we're always looking to provide that value.
Yeah, the concept of the unlimited expertise, all things near and dear to my heart, actually, Tom. And the idea of looking forwards and adding value to your clients is, I think it's the 21st century accountant.
It is, because I think business owners in general are certainly frustrated with the amount of regulation, and when they say we'd like to do this, and they go, well, yeah, GAAP doesn't allow us to do that anymore, or they just get frustrated by things. So it's a turnoff for them, and they're really looking for CPAs that can be really value-added partners. So, a lot of our middle market firms maybe don't have a strong CFO or, strong operational, but so we're just kind of there to kind of guide them along, right? To be there, and really just be more than that bean counter to them, right? So.
Yeah, well, that's great, Tom. Before we go any further, I'd really like to ask you a little bit, and I ask all my guests this question.
Sure.
What is it that actually got you into this business? What inspired you to become an accountant?
Yeah, it's interesting. In college, I was going to be a stockbroker, and one of my teachers I worked with, we had like a stock trading group, and we were talking about my career, and he was our economics teacher, and I was asking him back then, about the future of. He goes, well, I think stockbrokers potentially are not going to be as needed as they are today. The business is changing. He goes, you're better off becoming a CPA and getting that foundation, and then you can go into finance, and you go into accounting, you can go be an entrepreneur, you can do anything you want. And I said, great, I'll try it. And so I dove into it, and I took an internship. Back then our firm was Falmer Rajevitz, and I chose that firm because they worked on more smaller clients. I didn't really want to work on the Chryslers or just work on one area. I was a guy that wanted to get my hands around things. And so that's what really got me into this business. And I thought, well, I'll do like a lot of people think. I'll go there for 3 or 5 years, get my base, and I'll, move on, right? And what I did is I fell in love with the fact that I get to work with a whole bunch of clients and a bunch of entrepreneurs. And out of that, obviously my core business is manufacturing, but I got involved with some young kids and startups. And today I probably have 15 or 20 of those in various stages. And some have been some very big successful stories for these young kids, and I'm proud to be along to advise them. So it's just, it's really what kept me in the business. And our firm is a very entrepreneurial firm. And I said, I want to do this. I said, go do it. And so I'm my own boss. I have pretty much, you only get out of it what you put into it, and that's what I loved about it. And if I make it happen, I make it happen. That's great. So I never looked back. So.
Yeah. Interesting, though. You mentioned some young entrepreneurs. So how did those young entrepreneurs find you? How did they find Tom Alongi, or how did they find your firm?
Yeah, I want to say it's a little bit by accident. I worked with one of my clients, and they said, "Hey, I have my son here. He's 21. I think he's got some really crazy ideas, but I want you to look at him and see if you can help him out, And I met his son, and he's a 21-year-old kid, walked out with like 2 cans of Red Bull, spiked hair, and it was like drinking out of a fire hose listening to him. And I said, wow, this is crazy. You're an entrepreneur, And he started back then, I don't know if he had $40,000 of revenue. I don't even know if he had that. He was doing websites, building websites, which is, this is now 13 years ago. And today, he's built a highly successful, very extremely profitable business. And he introduced me to a few people, and then I met another individual that introduced me to some individuals down at Detroit Venture Partners, and it's kind of been just referral, like, oh, I hear you work with, so-and-so. I hear you work, I'm like, yeah, I do, So they're like, well, if you work with them, you're good enough for me. So that's kind of how we've rolled, and so it's just, a little bit of word of mouth, but we've put on some certain, seminars for startups and trying to get some, younger people involved. And so that's just, it's just something I fell into, really. For, I call it a little bit of fun, because the startups aren't always the most profitable.
No.
So, but, some of them I've, invested my own time, and some have turned out to be great clients, and, not all of them make it. But it's been enjoyable and fun.
So talking about, you mentioned the word fun a couple of times. What do you do when you're not being an accountant? What kind of hobbies and sports and interests have you got?
Well, I grew up boating most of my life, and really because of my career, I just wasn't using the boat enough. I was pushing so hard. I took a little time off. Not a big golfer. My parents weren't, so I'll go out on a scramble, but I try to avoid it. And so, I have a wife and 2 kids, and we enjoy boating today again, back in it, and we travel. And as obviously being up in Michigan, and majority of my clients being automotive, I still, I love cars. So those are really my pastime.
Okay. Do you collect cars?
No, I don't collect them. I just love to drive them. So.
Okay, good. Well, looking back towards how your firm works, what do you think the things are that your firm does particularly well?
Yeah, I think really, what we do really well, and I think what we have is a very shift in obviously the dynamics of the millennials. But back when I started, what really brought me into this firm was this kind of entrepreneurial culture, right? Where you got a lot of great training, right? And we still do provide a lot of great training. But it really is what dawned on me and said that, the way our, structure is, our comp structure is, that the sky's the limit. If you can create a book of business, you're going to get paid on it, and you're going to do really well. And so for those that can really grow their business, and, I think of it as kind of my own business in a way, and that's what I enjoy about it, that, that's something we do really well. I mean, if there's something you want to do, you're passionate about it, go do it, So I think that's what we do really well. Secondly, I think, obviously we're very focused on quality. training. We find that a lot of the other, even the Big Four, the other firms, do want to grab some of our staff out of our offices because they have such hands-on. I mean, you get involved, in clients and you can go out in field work, very early on. So you're not always sitting behind a desk. We're trying to get them out in front of clients, into the plants or whatever industry they're in, as much as possible, because it's hard to be. I don't know. It seems like accountants and other places that don't understand a client's business or don't. I don't know how you can be their CPA. It just amazes me sometimes at some of the stuff that is easy, low-hanging fruit when you have to have a passion about what you do, and that's really, our firm gives us that opportunity to do that, right? If you're passionate about construction, be in construction. Petroleum, you want to be a generalist, be a generalist. So, we have no set thing of, hey, be in tax or be in audit, if you want. You can. It's really, there's flexibility to really do what you want to do. So.
Right. No, that's great. And you're treating your firm as a business, not just a bunch of accountants. So that's what it sounds like, anyway.
Absolutely. We're set up as audit and tax, but in a way, each of our partners are, in our principal. We have to. We only grow. We got to bring in business. We have to service that client. It's equal importance, right? We need client getters and client keepers. So right. we need both of them. So
if there was anything that you wished you did better, what might that be?
I think being a firm that's entrepreneurial is that there's times that we're running, and I notice with myself, we're running so hard, right, that we don't always communicate as well as I think we should, right? And that's an area that we're really working to make sure we're touching, all of our staff, making sure we're communicating with everybody from top to bottom. But that's what's changed a little bit in this millennial, where they want a lot more feedback, a lot more interaction, a lot more touch points, right? Where before, when I grew up, it was like, here you go do it. You got to be really a self-starter. Today, there's a lot more hand-holding. There's a lot more, let's walk through it, let's sit down. And that's something where we have to slow down a little bit as a firm, because we're always pushing so hard. And that's one of the big areas I think that we're trying to address as much as we can. And unfortunately, it's probably the industry too, is the hours, right? Certainly the busy season hours wear on people. So it wears on all of us. So, and quite frankly, as things have changed, we're busy year round. Yeah.
Well, I also see there must be a lot of good things going on, because I see your firm's earned several best place to work designations in your various offices.
Yep.
So is there something in about the firm's philosophy and culture that's sort of led to that recognition?
Yeah, again, I think it goes back to the entrepreneurial spirit, right? And I think what it is today, our most important asset are our people. That's, we don't walk out in a machine shop and have rows of injection molding machines. We have people. And so we have to do everything we can to provide an environment that they want to come and work, right? Whether it's group outings, lunches that we have on Friday, during busy season, lunches on Friday, Saturday. We're probably the most well-fed firm that I know of, quite frankly. But we're always providing that. We're trying to do the extra step. We have, ice cream days, hot dog days, pizza day. There's always something going on. We're trying to, not, create it just that, monotonous, office environment. So something we've been working at, and I think it leads to, some of those recognitions.
Great. So, thinking back to your client base again, what are some of the most common mistakes that business owners are making that you'd like to fix for them?
Well, I think the number one thing that we see is not planning.
Okay.
And I think the number two thing is, for some clients, is like, I don't want to spend that money, And I look at some of our most successful clients where they're engaging us they know that they got a problem. Okay, this is the fee, fix it. The return is 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? But some clients just can't get over that hurdle sometimes, and that's an issue. But planning, certainly, I see more of it today than I did 5 or 10 years ago, because I think the life cycle of businesses is a little bit shorter because there's so many disruptors today with technology. So having that 3 or 5 or 10-year plan, I think is something extremely critical that a lot of our clients don't always spend enough time on. So what we've been doing in this case is we've really been trying to set up what we call them they're just kind of like mini advisory boards, right? Where we're at least making sure that we're sitting down, 4 times a year and making sure the client is putting together a plan that is achievable, that they can, obtain, that they can stick to. And that's really our goal, is to just be that outside force to help them, grow. But not all clients do that, and they wait till they're too busy. They're like, I don't have time. And then they realize, wait, I'm 62 or 65, and now what, right? So that's one of the biggest mistakes that we see. So
I think that we're very familiar with lack of planning, but a lot of the times, do you find that your clients actually don't know what direction they want to go in, and they can't plan unless they know what direction they want to go, and they don't sit down and they don't actually write down what their purpose is and where they want to go and how they want to get there?
Absolutely, and those are the perfect clients that our team loves to get in front of, because that's what we're here to do, because we work with so many clients. We know the industry. We know the market, and it can really help them give them that clarity, right? To say, should I grow through acquisition? Should I sell to private equity? Should I succession plan to my kids? Is there a future? And these are all things that we, really, that are the value add things that we love to do and sit down with clients and help them plan. So you're absolutely right.
So, Tom, between the internet and outsourcing and new technologies, the accounting world is changing quite a lot. In fact, dramatically and rapidly, I might suggest. How is your firm set to deal with these changes and become a 21st century firm?
Well, yeah. Like I said, I feel like these last 5 years, and maybe a little bit longer than that, is there's been tremendous change. And the other thing I keep saying is technology, technology, technology. So one part is the firm's aggressively investing in the latest and greatest technology, whether it's, our online, document center where we keep all of our, so we're paperless, new account, audit software to make sure that we're in the next century, on that. Our pro system, our tax systems, our projections. There's no doubt technology is very, very important point for us. And, the other hard part is we're trying to also manage that with, client, demand and what they're looking for too. And so, I think, our next biggest, change is kind of, the millennials, right? And what does that look like, right? So a more flexible work schedule. Actually, our firm, who was very rigid in our, our professional business suit and tie attire, has gone to a more casual, summer, attire here that we're giving a try, and so we're trying to listen to all those needs,
Sure.
and try to change with them as quickly as possible. But the flexible work schedule is a big one we see, and that's all we can do is we can listen and make the changes that we can that are in the best interest of the firm and our clients.
So where do you see the industry heading as a whole? Is tax going to be tax compliance and is going to be still the foundation, or are we moving to in a different direction?
I mean, you probably could ask that. I mean, a lot of people probably have a lot of different views. In my opinion, I would say that what is going to drive the future will be the ability of firms to be able to really be able to engage with clients from a value add perspective. You see this, with some of the larger firms, and it's going to trickle down. They're buying software companies now. They're not buying other CPA firms. So,
yeah.
So it's providing like tech solutions for how they, potentially do reconciliations or how we capture data or how we audit that data. I think I heard even like KPMG was like working with IBM on like artificial intelligence, and so there's going to be a big shift in how we audit, because it's interesting. You look at the PCOB and these inspections, and their focus, in my opinion, is just a little bit. They're so deep in the weeds that the big picture is getting lost of. Are the numbers right or wrong? And some of these things that they bring up are like you or I or anybody or investor wouldn't even care about. So
yeah.
It's very unusual. Let's get back to the big picture. I mean, what are the real core foundation, right? And so I think that's really going to drive some change of how we audit. Technology is going to be a big driver of that change. I mean, I think we're always going to have the core, audit and tax. But let's face it, to me, the audit and tax, that's a commodity now. I mean, the tax is still a little bit of an art. There's no doubt, and we see a lot of opportunity there. But the audit, for the most part, I mean, is a lot of the bigger firms are always, most of them are doing good audits. So where are you going to really differentiate yourself, right? And that's in the consulting world. It really is.
Right.
Yes. That's the foundation of the future is what type of value-added products or services can you bring to the market that clients are going to want and say, wow, you guys did a great job here. I want you to be my audit firm. And so you lead with that and get the annuity with the audit and tax work.
Right. Right. Well, Tom, we're running short on time a little now. So let me just ask you one really, I think it's a fundamental thing. Lots of people get nervous about change, and of course the industry is having rapid change at the moment. We at Hayden Rock, we like to look at every change as an opportunity. So as you look forward, where do you see the opportunity for your industry?
I think, again, the opportunity in our industry is in my opinion, is firms need to become more specialized in industry practices. So it's not enough to be a great auditor. It's more so, do you really understand injection molding or plastics or metals or whatever, healthcare, whatever that industry is? You need to build industry practice groups that are the best and brightest. And I think that will really be a leading opportunity for our firms. I think there's still going to be tremendous, I don't know if tremendous is the right word, but there's still going to be quite a bit of consolidation as, it's not just about getting bigger for some of some of them are just chasing just to get bigger, which I don't think makes sense. What I think makes the most sense is doing acquisitions that are firms that are great at something, right? Maybe they're great in healthcare, maybe they're great in manufacturing, whatever that industry is really building out, a great team of great people. So I don't say that, being the biggest doesn't always mean the best. I mean, we see that all the time, but it's about being industry focused and being the best at what you do is going to be really, really the biggest opportunity, in my mind, that we see going forward.
That's a great answer, Tom. Thank you. I think our listeners can see that Tom's a great example of a forward-thinking 21st century accountant. So I want to thank Tom Alongi for being so generous with his time today. And thank you, Tom. Have you any last things you would like to share with us?
No, I just wanted to thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Tom, if people want to learn more about you or your firm, what's the best way to reach out to you?
You can reach me at Alongi, ALONGI, at uhy-us.com.
Thank you, Tom. That's great. Okay, there you have it. This is Ian Wellham saying bye for now. We'll see you next time on the Accounting Success Podcast.
Thank you.